Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And you decide which one of us is Deadpool and which one of us is Wolverine, because today we're talking about the Deadpool movies. And just to as a heads up, we're gonna do a quick talk about Deadpool 1 and 2 because we haven't talked about them on the show before. So we're gonna do that. And there's no reason to give them a spoiler warning because, they're pretty old movies by this point. So, not much of a reason, but when we're about to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, we're gonna give you a note because the movie is not even a week old yet at the time of this recording. So we are obviously going to give a warning once we're gonna talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. But for now, this is the safe era in which we only talk about Deadpool 1 and 2. So
God,
but before that,
do you want to feel
uh,
old? Dead the
yeah,
the first Deadpool movie's like almost 10 years old.
it's 8. Yeah, that's
Ugh, I feel old now.
Well, but before that, what Wolf? What was your experience with Deadpool before these movies?
I did not see it when it first came out. I will admit. I watched it over at a friend's house when it released on Blu-ray.
Hmm.
Very enjoyable though. Very fun. Like not what I was expecting from what I had assumed at the time was a Marvel movie, and then realized, oh wait, no, this isn't Marvel. This is Fox.
Well, it is a Marvel
it's
character,
it is a
but
Marvel character though, yeah. So like I came into it, it's like, oh, it's a Marvel movie, and that's kind of what I was led to believe. It's not a Marvel movie, technically speaking, but it is a Marvel character. But yeah,
it,
I really enjoyed it. Really had fun. That was not necessarily my first experience with the character. Like I had kind
that's
of
what I'm
heard of him
asking
and
you.
knew of him before, but
Yeah, that's what I. What was your
oh,
experience before the movie?
before the movie. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I had a little bit. Like I knew of the character. I kind of knew like he's a little bit wacky, zany, and very much fourth wall break a lot, but like I didn't know much of him other than that. I would say I knew
Yeah,
what I
that's
was walking into the movie. Like when I like I'll say this like before I walked into the first movie, right? I kind of like had an idea of all right. I have a picture of what I'm walking into. I have no idea how they're gonna do any of that for a movie, but I have a picture of what I'm walking into. And I
yeah.
guess
So,
oh yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
go
I'll
ahead.
wait. No, go ahead.
No, I just want basically the same. Like I knew who Deadpool was. Like I knew the costume design, and I knew the gist that he's a loudmouth, he's cursing a lot of sex jokes, and of course the fourth wall does not exist with this guy. He knows that he's a fictional character, and he's loving every second of it,
Yeah.
supposedly.
I will
Uh,
say the
mhm.
first experience I had with Deadpool though, and this was before I knew anything about the character, and so
Let me guess. I think I know where you're going. We're getting there. Trust me, we're getting there.
fair enough.
But like maybe I had seen like a cameo of him in in like a cartoon or something because he did show up in a few cartoons and then he did get his own game. Like there was the game
Yeah, I
that
remember that.
came out, and actually I met someone who thought that the movie was a video game movie that was based on that movie, and I'm like, no, like. That is still the weirdest conversation I had in
Hmm.
my life where someone comes to up to me and goes, "Hey HC, did you hear about this new video game movie that's coming out?" And I'm like, "No, which one?" And it's like, with like the assassin that like talks to you. He knows he's in a game and he's talking to the player and everything. And I'm like, Deadpool. He's like, "Yeah, Deadpool," and I'm like, "That's not a game movie. That's I
Listen,
haven't s- I haven't
I
spoke
feel
to that
like
person."
I feel like
But
that's at the very least kind of like a compliment towards the game because if I'm not mistaken, while the game wasn't the best gameplay, it at least got Deadpool right.
yeah, like the character of Deadpool was great in that game. The game itself, it's one and done, but like the jokes make it worth a playthrough
Yeah,
or a watch on YouTube if you are like that. But
yeah,
yeah,
fair, fair.
well, anyway, so my experience was, I knew who he was. I did read a few comics actually. Like there was actually a comic series which is basically like either Deadpool and Spider-Man or Spider-Man and Deadpool. Like I'm not sure which one of them is getting top billing, but they are great in it. Like the camaraderie between the two is great, and also in the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions game, Deadpool has a level which people were kind of miffed about because it's supposed to be the ultimate Deadpool, which is different, and but they portray him as the as the mainstream Deadpool, let's call it that. But he I remember liking him in that game. That is one of the best levels in that game. And so I had an experience with Deadpool. And then one day a friend told me, if only Deadpool was so good in the movies. And I'm like, when was he in a movie? And it's like, you remember X-Men Origins Wolverine? And I'm like, I remember the time it was on TV and there was nothing better to watch. And my roommate at the time decided to watch it for some reason. And it's like, so you know the guy they sued his mother? It's like, yeah, that's Deadpool. And I'm like, no, you're lying to me. And he's like, nope, that's Deadpool. And I'm like,
Yep.
no, you're lying to me. And sadly enough, he wasn't lying. Oh
Poor
my god.
Ryan Reynolds at the time.
Apparently, I'm not sure if the story is true or not, but apparently, the reason they sued his mouth off is because that was the only way to keep the character PG-13.
I mean, it's not wrong, right?
It's not wrong, but there
Probably.
are. I mean, Spider-Man Shadow Dimensions would like to have a word with you.
True. But I mean, like they were like I get it if they're trying to make a PG-13 movie. Like Deadpool doesn't necessarily fit with that, but at the same time, I think you could. It'd be hard to make a PG-13 movie with Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
You could maybe do it, but it would definitely
Like
be hard.
you could. I remember there is a joke that people kept saying that if they were gonna walk him into a team up movie, which has to be PG-13, there will be this joke where he says that he doesn't want to say fuck until the best moment possible because he's only allowed
Not
one
one.
in a
Yeah,
PG-13. But then as he's about to say it, another character steals it away from him, and he'll be super pissed off about that. So
that would be a
they've
good joke.
not, yeah, they haven't followed up on that idea yet, but it is a good idea. But
We have
otherwise,
we're a lot
there's,
closer to it now since Disney also owns, Fox, because Disney owns
yeah,
everything at this point.
we'll get there. But anyway, so we talked about the X-Men Origins
But
Wolverine
yeah,
thing,
I
and
was I was gonna bring up right since you brought it up. That was my first experience with Deadpool. Knew nothing about the character before then, so I
mhm,
thought he was just some weird random dude. And then
yeah,
I started seeing all of the reaction. I'm like, oh, I
like
see now. And that's when I started learning more about the character.
yeah, this was the point. Like, this was the Zilla of Deadpool fans,
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much.
Looking back, it's basically what it is. So,
But hey,
and
spoilers for Deadpool 2. He's dead now. And he was dead in the original movie, but he's dead by Deadpool's hands now.
well, yeah. So we
I
already
have
said
to
that,
feel like that was some catharsis for
spoilers.
Ryan Reynolds
Oh,
too.
that it was. They knew what they were doing when they did that. And also, we did say that there are spoilers for 1 and 2 that
We did.
we're not. So yeah,
I
that part of
will
the movie.
I will
I can tell you
I am a
though,
little surprised Fox allowed that at the time, but
well, to be honest, the entirety of Deadpool has been self-aware, so
true.
obviously,
So
and
fair.
I think they knew, and especially Ryan Reynolds obviously knew that because, and he has a big creative say on the Deadpool franchise in
Mm.
terms of the movies. So yeah,
He's
I'm
done
not
good so
surprised.
far, so
Mhm. Well, and that's the thing that in some ways, it is important to talk about X-Men Origins Wolverine. Forget the fact that it's a shitty ass movie, Deadpool or not, right?
mm,
Um, but it is kind of a miracle that the first Deadpool movie exists as it is because of what Ryan Reynolds had to push through in order to
yeah,
get to that point. Because there was this representation which is just god awful, and then for years this script was just Fox just didn't want to make this movie because R-rated. It had to be R-rated. There was no chance it couldn't be.
yeah.
And then
I believe it was like
are you aware of the
leaked
story that
footage,
yeah
right? That got them to be like,
because
oh shit, people
yeah
want
because there
this.
was because what happened is that I think years before it was leaked, there was the car sequence scene from the first movie was basically like a pitch to show, hey, this is what a Deadpool movie can be,
Yeah.
right? This is what it was supposed to be. By the way, the director of the first Deadpool movie and the studio which produced that pitch, same studio which at the time was doing the CG for the Sonic games and would later on do the CG in the Sonic movies.
Oh, cool.
Here you go. Yeah,
Your Sonic and
imagine my
Deadpool
shock when
crossover is inching ever closer.
actually we just thanks to Roblox, so of all things, we got a Sonic and Ninja Turtles crossover now. So yeah,
Well, you're getting there,
and I'm
ever
getting
closer.
there.
Your Sonic,
So close.
Your Sonic will conquer the world, thing and be, mixed in with everything is getting ever closer.
I mean, he and Mario were in the Olympics. There's not
Well,
after that some surprise, but
you'll know Sonic has made it when he's put into Fortnite. That's when Sonic has made it. That's when Sonic's truly famous.
I think he's already in,
Is
or at
he?
least
I
there's
don't know.
something.
It might be something. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't keep up
Here's
with
the thing.
Fortnite anymore.
Yeah, I don't care honestly, but if you play Fortnite, go ahead enjoy it. I
Let
don't
us
care.
know. Is Sonic in there?
Well, anyway, back to Deadpool. So, this test footage is produced.
Mhm.
Fox doesn't like it because again, R-rated, and then somebody leaks it. I'm not to this day, no one is exactly sure who, because apparently Ryan Reynolds went on saying like, if I would have known that this footage would have gotten as good as a reception as it did, and we would get to make the movie, I would have leaked it myself. So obviously, the footage got enormously positive reviews, and Fox is like, all right, let's do this. And I also have to say, the marketing for this movie was one of the best marketing campaigns to like any movie ever. If you remember what it was like to the wait for this movie. Actually, you said you kind of skipped that in details, but
Yeah, unfortunately. But I think it's been a while, but I think I do remember seeing the marketing. Yeah.
because one of my favorites is that the movie came out on Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah.
So, there is a poster for it, which actually there was a poster and a fake trailer by the marketing team, which made it look like a romantic comedy to take your girlfriend to. That's fucking amazing. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we actually got the movie, and yeah, I would still say it's one of the most important superhero movies ever made for the time it came out in, and the fact that it exists in general, considering the history behind it. And I still think it holds up really well. Like, it's still funny, it's still great. Deadpool is done very well. Just a lot. The movie just works, and and
Agreed.
if there's a character that Ryan Reynolds was just born to play, it's Deadpool.
Yeah. Like at this point, he is Deadpool, right? Like I don't think you can like take that away from him.
Yeah, like kind of jumping like the gun, I guess. But how now Hugh Jackman is so recognized as
Yeah.
Wolverine
Yeah.
because he's like the only guy who played this character in live action. I think Ryan Reynolds is reaching there with Deadpool,
Well,
or at least already is.
I think he already is. I think there's a few Marvel characters, right? That it like you can't picture anyone else playing them. Like oh fuck, uh Robert Downey Jr. is like Tony Stark,
Yeah,
right?
Iron Man, yeah.
Or Iron Man, yeah. Or oh fuck, who's the actor for Captain America? Fuck, I know
Chris
his.
Evans.
Yes, Chris Evans. Yeah, like
Mhm.
these are people you can't picture in any other. You can't picture anyone else in that role, right? Like they are that character, right?
Yeah, and
Marvel's been
but I
really
think.
good about doing that, I feel.
Mhm. And I think like there's n- there's nothing about from the body language to the voice to everything, and the fact that he's also producing and writing these movies and everything. He's this character.
Yeah.
He's basically Deadpool,
Yeah.
and It's great. I also fun kind of a side note. I would kill to see the test footage for that he claimed they showed him for Detective Pikachu, which is basically the realistic Pikachu but with Deadpool dialogue. I would kill to see that tape.
Mm,
I want to see Pikachu swear.
that'd be
That's
funny.
just a
Yeah.
meeting. So, but anyway, yeah, a lot of Deadpool's success is basically thanks to Ryan Reynolds, and the movie does stand on its own. Like there are so many great moments in it, like with the 12 bullet scene, and just the way that the story is told, and all the little things in it that you would think that because I've heard the claim that Deadpool is a character that might only be enjoyed in spurts, like he is not like a lead, but I think his shtick works super well for this movie.
Well, I think it's because the movie's designed around him, right? I don't think you could have him. It would be you kind of I think you do have to tailor your movie for Deadpool a little bit, right? To some degree. Because I
Yeah.
think if you just plop Deadpool into a regular Marvel movie, that would be I don't think it would work as well, right?
I've seen the claim that Deadpool is basically if the guy who sits next to you and tells you all the little references and all the callbacks and all the stuff, but he's the star of the movie.
Yeah.
And it can be that, but I think the movie also balances it well
Yeah, I think they
with
do it well,
his
yeah.
with his backstory, and they also there's also the smart choice to start him off in the costume and then flashback, and that way you're not waiting half a movie just to see him in that costume and doing his shtick. Because if you notice, he doesn't start breaking the fourth wall until he puts on the costume.
Mm.
At least chronologically, because
Yeah.
obviously he breaks the fourth wall the first chance he gets in the costume. But yeah. Mm. Which, by the way, I do love some of the fourth wall jokes that some of them are smart. Like I know what you're thinking. My boyfriend told me this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the red suit just turned that other guy into a kebab. What? And there are other stuff there.
Yeah.
What I don't remember. I think one part that really got me is that after he breaks all of his limbs, fighting, trying to harm Colossus, and he cuts his own hand. And so he falls into the garbage truck, and you see that the hand that he carved off is just with a middle finger. Like it's such a little detail, but it
Yeah.
works when you see that. It's like so good. And of course, then when the hand grows, it's like a tiny baby hand. That's great too. So yeah, there are a lot of little things that really work well in this movie, and a lot of big things too. What are yours? What are some parts that you like?
Oh Lord, it's been so long. I don't remember the first one. I unfortunately didn't get to do like a quick recap of it. But there's not a lot to hate about the first Deadpool. I think it's very much an enjoyable and fun film and just a good romp all throughout. I think oh man.
Like, if my mom could get through it and have a good time,
Oh
that
yeah.
probably means most of you are going to be okay.
Yeah. I think I do kind of love his back and forth with the X-Men with Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, right? Especially
Hmm.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead because it's
Yes.
just like I love the, old man versus young child back and forth they have going on for those two.
Oh no, no! Finish your tweet. Yeah, hashtag it. Go get a tiger. And then when she activates it, oh, I'm so not jealous of the guy who tries to pressure her into porn sex. And actually, on that note, a character that I didn't expect to love so much in the long run, but I do, is Dupender, the taxi driver.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
actually very enjoyable too.
I just love that he gives them a ride to the climax, and then he tells them, "I did what you told me, the DP. I took my cousin and I shoved him in the trunk of my car," and Colossus is just like, disapproving and look at him. It's like, I did not tell him to say that. And then later on, when Deadpool calls him, he hits the brakes and somebody just rams into his car, and it's like, Bandu, are you okay? And it's
That one was also really good. Yeah.
like again, there are a lot of little moments in this movie that just woke, and I think one of my favorites also is the post-credit scene, because at this point it was, you know, Marvel was becoming famous for it, that you can't leave a Marvel movie before the credits end,
Mm.
you know. So that they did like I think it's the joke from Ferris Bueller, when you wait until the end of the credits and it goes, and just in like in that movie, Deadpool like comes in and it's like, you're still here, the movie's over, go home. Oh, you're expecting a teaser? Okay, we don't have that kind of money. What did you expect? Samuel Jackson showing up with an eye patch? Go. And then but then he does promise people that we're gonna see Cable in the sequel. So there's that.
Yeah. And hey, that's a good segue going into Deadpool 2.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, Tim Miller, the director of the original movie, was supposed to come back, but apparently there were some creative differences between him and Ryan Reynolds, so we ended up quitting. And I remember hearing about it. I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I hope he finds something else. Like I'd watch whatever this guy is going to make next. Week later, Tim Miller to executive produce the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. About the what? Talk about timing, isn't it?
True.
Mm. So, but to be honest, Deadpool 2. So again, the director leaves. Kinda, am kinda worried what they're gonna do with the sequel, because the first one was such a big hit. So kind of worried maybe the studio now would try to supervise it a bit more. You get what
Mm.
I mean?
Yeah.
But thankfully, not the case. Not the case. Ryan Reynolds was still 100% in control of it, and I think I'm still to this day not sure if Deadpool 2 is necessarily better or worse, but I definitely think it's on the same level as the first one.
I think I enjoyed the first. I think I enjoyed the. It's been a while since I've seen the first one. I was able to recap the second one at least. At least, I think I still enjoyed the first one more than the second, personally. And I think as of now, I like the third more than the second as well. For me, I
Yeah.
think the second film is my least favorite. Still good. Like that is not indicative of its quality. Let me be clear. I think the second one is still a good, fun, and enjoyable movie. It's just of the three, it is my least favorite. Right.
Hmm.
But
Fair
like
enough. I can see
still
it
very
because.
good quality level movie.
Hmm. And again, like I think there's a lot. What one of the things I love about the second one is that they go really big with the humor, and it still
Yeah.
works in other ways. Like there are gags that they reuse, but like like with the credits in the first movie, that they show like God's perfect idiot, a CGI character, the girl, and then like in the sequel, you get like this credits montage with Celine Dion, and they're like, after the girlfriend is getting shot, and it's like, What? I can't believe they did that. She's like everyone's favorite character. What? I can't believe it. No, it's they know how to use it well, and
Mm.
also yeah, I didn't expect them to just kill Vanessa out of nowhere, and but I think also the one of the things that might play a bit, depending on who you ask, play really well into the movie's benefit or the movie's detriment, is that there are a lot more deep cut references in it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like because the movie literally starts with a reference to Logan, right?
True. Yeah, it does.
And then there's the whole joke when Deadpool comes home for a mission and he tells Vanessa, I fought a cave badass," and then it turns out that both of our mothers were named Martha, so we're cool now. If if you know, you know. So, but you see, that's the thing. If you know the references to those movies, then you know. But if you're not, this is the point where you might be a bit more confused about things.
Yeah,
But either way, I still think Deadpool 2 is still funny. I think the parachuting scene when they are jumping off from the plane, one of the best sequences in the movie.
I think that's one of the best ones. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I just love that they have this Vanisher guy there, and you don't even see, you just see a backpack in midair. It's it's such a funny, it's a stupid visual, it's a simple visual, but it works. There's no other way to go about it. It works, and especially when he ends up being electrocuted, and you see that it's Brad Pitt of all people.
Yep.
That's funny.
It was good.
and
And also
and
just
I
the bit of him telling a bedtime story as well to oh fuck, who was that? I forget.
Oh no! Oh, this is the PG-13 version
Ah,
of the
yeah.
movie.
Okay. So that's just the PG-13 version of the movie. Okay, I see.
Yeah, there is the original theatrical cut. There's the super duper cut, and there's the Once Upon a Deadpool cut, which is PG-13.
I see. Yeah, I've watched all of them, but I still enjoyed the Once Upon a Deadpool cut as well, though. Too. I thought that was
Yeah,
fun.
I think it is funny that because the whole movie is basically he reads a bedtime story to. I don't remember who that
Yeah,
is.
I
I
don't
need to.
remember either.
Okay, keep it going while I wiki it.
Oh, me keep it going. I was also looking for it. Um, but yeah, like, well, I
Once
mean, there's also some good
upon
stuff
a
where, like, you have, like you said, they have some recurring gags. They bring back like the arm, except this time it's his entire lower half, and they make a big joke about that too. And then there's like,
Mhm.
just like a lot of like the lucky part, the lucky woman, the woman who's just lucky. That's her
Yeah,
superpower, and just
Domino.
yep,
Yeah.
just a lot
Mhm.
of fun stuff there. They do a lot of good stuff with her. I didn't think that would be as fun as it was, but it was very enjoyable.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and also just Cable in general was done really well, and and yeah, they do. Somebody actually said I saw someone complain, like, how in the hell do they go the entire movie without mentioning the fact that Josh Brolin was also Thanos? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He does. He does reference that, and it's like
true.
when, and it's like because I still remember that it was it was right there,
Hello.
like
Okay.
come on. But I guess maybe it was Fred Savage. That's who it was, Fred Savage.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, Josh Brolin as Cable was also really good, and also if I have to give up a favorite performer, that would be the kid who plays Russell, Julian Dennison. He is great in this movie.
You think so? I kind of liked
Yeah,
him. I didn't like him as I think eh, he he was fine. I didn't like him as much, but I can see why you would like him. Yeah, I get it. He
and
did really
also
good for the character.
I will say, if you haven't seen Hunt for Wilder People, do watch it. It's a great movie, and that was the movie that convinced Ryan Reynolds he needs to play this character. This kid is my kid.
Mm,
Also, I think in terms of the stuff that was kind of done in the first movie, but they up it. We mentioned the hand bit in the first movie when he just loses both of his legs, and you just see him with the baby legs in the apartment.
yeah, yeah. I
That's
mentioned
fu-
that.
that's
Yeah,
fucking that's fucking hilarious.
it
That's
was really
great.
good, and just seeing
And
everyone's different reactions to it. Oh,
hmm
we've not mentioned like also just the blind woman who is his roommate as well is just also wonderful and just lovely to have her in all three films.
hmm I one part that I do that I also like. This is just one of those really quick jokes. It was also in the trailer for the second movie where Cable shows up and Deadpool is like, "Oh, you're so dark. You're sure you're not from the DC universe?" I kind of like the idea that Warner Brothers probably had to give an okay for this because actually one more thing to mention because I kind of forgot. The somewhat teaser for Deadpool 2 was actually a short film called No Good Deed, where Deadpool just walks down the street and then he sees an old guy getting mobbed. So they parodied the Superman thing where he runs into the phone booth and then switches. But because he's not Superman, he switches like in real time. So by the time he switches into the costume, the guy is already shot.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the bit there where as soon as he steps out of the phone booth, you see Stanley there going, "Wow, nice suit," and he goes, "Zip it, Stanley."
Yeah.
That's great. Anything else to say about Deadpool 2?
Um. Hmm. No, I'd say again, like I said, like overall good, fun movie, very enjoyable. Just not my favorite one. I
It
think
is
I
interesting though that because I do think it's on par with the original, but at the same time there's something about it that feels less special than the
I th-
first one.
I think I like the first one more personally. But again, that's just personal take, right? Personal opinion. It's
Yeah,
still like
uh,
like don't get me wrong, the second one's still fun, still very enjoyable, right?
mm, definitely. I
Like there's
get you. I
definitely a
get
lot of good stuff there. You're not gonna be disappointed.
you. Yeah, you're not gonna be disappointed. It's still a great movie. I guess in terms of which one you like more is up for personal preference by this
Now,
point.
personally, I like the third one the most at this point.
Well, so I guess this is the point where I'm just gonna say before we jump into the third one, we are going. It's kind of impossible to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine without spoilers. So,
Yeah.
so this is just the point where we're gonna say I loved Deadpool and Wolverine. I highly recommend it.
Yes.
That's the most non-spoilery thing I can say.
Yeah, agreed. If I hope we get another Deadpool movie, but if we don't, this was a good one to go out on at the very least. Like this is extremely enjoyable. Very
Yeah.
much so.
So this was our recommendation. Go see Deadpool and Wolverine if you haven't,
Yes.
and if you have, we're gonna to start spoilers in three, two, one.
Spoilers. Wolverine's in this movie.
So you know what? Before we actually get to it, let's actually talk about the fact again. This was in development. I don't want to say development hell, but this lasted for a long while because after Deadpool 2 was the whole Disney bought Fox thing, and then there was the whole is Disney going to allow Deadpool to remain R rated? Is it gonna be PG-13? Is Ryan Reynolds still gonna be involved? What exactly are they gonna do with this?
Yeah.
And then when they announce, oh, it's going to be a buddy movie with Wolverine and Hugh Jackman is back, and it's like interesting. Obviously, Hugh Jackman is like the Wolverine, but it's also you gave him a perfect ending with Logan, so how are you gonna do this exactly? And I like that the movie literally starts with Deadpool saying, how are we going to do this without disrespecting Logan? We're not. Like right off the bat, they tell you we are not even gonna try to do that.
And they
And
don't.
they don't, but I also feel like in this, let's be honest, they were going into a no-win situation with this, right?
But at the same
They
time,
were,
I think it doesn't matter if they're disrespectful to it. Who cares? Because that works for Deadpool,
yeah.
right?
Here's what I think. If you are going to bring back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, then it's a no-win situation after Logan, kinda. But and you could argue that digging up his grave and then using his skeleton to beat up enemies is disrespectful. But the way I see it is that if you don't like it, you can pretend Deadpool and Wolverine just doesn't exist. It doesn't change anything about this particular Wolverine's journey. He still got the strong stand up that
Well,
he
he's still
did, right?
dead.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the thing. He's still dead.
So
It's
Logan is
not
still
like
canon.
yeah, like Logan is canon. Like you can just ignore everything after that because yeah, nothing impacts the ending of Logan to any degree. And the thing is that this kind of dark humor works because it's Deadpool, and that's the kind of stuff that he does. So yeah, I just think it was brilliant. This was funny as hell.
Agreed. Oh man, like should we start getting into some spoilers though?
I will say, if we're talking about Wolverines, I love the montage where he jumps between all the versions of Wolverine. The comic accurate one, like the Dolph one, had me in
It
stitches.
was good.
But then I can tell you the amount of like shocked awes when when with the Henry Cavill one.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
That that was so good, and especially when Deadpool actually, we are
That
not
was
going to
very
give you like
blink and you missed it though too,
it, it,
somewhat.
wa- it was kind of bling, and also especially the joke where Deadpool tells them, "Oh, we're going to treat you so much better than the little shits down the street because of what DC did to Henry Cavill with Superman."
Yep.
It's like. So again, it was a blink and then you miss it, but it was also it also felt though it felt right. We didn't. They didn't need to. The part of the charm of this cameo is that it's just quick.
Yep.
You're left. They give you enough, but they don't give you too much.
Yep. Agreed.
And I do also enjoy the reason why this is all happening at all, where suddenly the people from the Loki TV show are coming to that point. It's like,
Well, the TVA are
hey,
like a Marvel thing from what I understand. But yeah, I did not I went into this film like knowing nothing about it, right? So I was like, "Oh wow, so they're doing TVA stuff. Interesting. So that's how they're going to connect this all into Marvel with everything is the TVA. That's clever. That's good. I liked that. I also loved the joke where like Deadpool looks at screens like, "Oh, do you mean from Loki season blah blah blah, episode blah blah blah?" And I'm like,
yeah, that's great.
"I see
No,
you. I
I
get
think
that."
I think my favorite point was when they offer him to jump into the universe, and then he just takes the camera, goes back a bit, and goes, "Screw your Fox! I'm going to Disneyland."
Yep. That was also really good.
hmm And
But then,
but
hey,
then
we got like a little sneak peek of Thor crying over Deadpool's body.
yeah, that's actually my one problem with the movie. What the hell is that? I thought they were building up for a joke in this movie. Nope.
I mean, that might still be a thing. That might be them hinting at something, considering Marvel, you know?
Yeah, like by all means. But I figured like, maybe they're building up something, not in this particular movie, but oh well.
I
And
mean, I'm
and
fine
but
with that, right?
mhm. Yeah, it still works. And I also love that when Deadpool and Wolverine get into that I enjoyed the idea that the Fox universe is essentially this kind of wasteland that you see like the broken logo and everything,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it's and especially I can tell you how much people just laugh their asses off when on the one hand it's like, oh my god, Chris Evans, and then
No,
just like
dude.
Deadpool.
Holy shit. I had people in the theater I was in, like, cause
Yeah.
like I heard multiple people go, "Oh, in America." I'm like, that ain't Captain America. He's in the regular universe. I'm gonna tell you right now, some people have forgotten because legitimately, I'm gonna really
Yeah.
make you feel old now. There are people who are alive right now who've never seen or heard of the Fantastic Four movies because it's that
Uh,
old.
and
The
also
Fantastic Four
probably
movie is almost,
and
if not over, a little
also
over 20 years old. So people were
yeah.
like, "Who's that?" After
And
it
now let
wasn't Captain America.
and also let me just tell you something. There's a good there's a good chance they just don't know about these movies because they are kind of suck. But do
I
you
mean, no, they're
know?
not good movies, but yeah.
No, like I remember them. But there were, but I think the people who knew when I was in the screening, I think because it was late at night, there was this point where everyone is expecting him to say Avengers Assemble, and then he just goes flame on, and it takes you a minute for your mind to like click. All right, he was Johnny
Yeah,
Storm.
because
Holy
I
shit. And you're like, the fuck is going on? And it's amazing. It, and
but no, I
you
also loved how you're dead, and Deadpool's like, hey, he was costing too much. He was costing too much for the screen time and everything. So it's
yeah.
fine. Like
Mhm.
poor Johnny Blaze,
And Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. Sorry, same thing.
And you know what? Speaking of the post-credit scene where he's just where that was like, so people say I got him killed. No, 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 no. Here's the tape, and
Yeah,
he actually shows it, and it's like, suck it.
that was also
Uh,
funny.
mhm.
No,
And
but personally though,
mhm,
my
yeah.
biggest oh fuck moment
Let
was
me guess. Blade.
yes, Wesley Snipes' Blade scene. I wasn't like they weren't great movies, but I still kind of had a little bit of fun with them. The Electra movies, and then seeing uh
Channing Tatum as Gambit. Yeah,
yeah,
because
Gambit. Well, Gambit's a lot. There's some history to that one, right? Like
yeah, because apparently that movie was he was supposed to have a movie, but it was like in production hell for
yeah,
like
Channing Tatum really wanted Gambit to have a movie, and he really wanted to play Gambit as well. So,
yeah,
and he just
but
never got it. He never got given
mhm,
the chance to. So this was like his one little moment.
yeah, and also Jennifer Garner as Electra was a shocking one to me, and Blade
Mm,
was surprising considering that right now Marvel is having problems adapting it again. Like
yeah,
directors are coming in and out, actors are coming in and out of this project. Like this project is in a mess, and
just bring back
so
Wesley Snipes. Let him do his thing. He was
yeah,
great,
because yeah, there you go. He was in this, and I did like the point
but I
where
feel
he's
like
going
this
like,
is like
"There's
this.
only,
Oh, go ahead.
there's only going to be one blade," and then Deadpool looks at the camera like, "Is it really
I mean,
you?"
I feel like it probably should be right because I don't know if you're going to get anyone better than Wesley Snipes. You might, we'll see, but Wesley Snipes definitely like did the character well back in the day. But those are definitely early 2000s, late 90s movies. You can tell if you go back and watch them. They definitely have that feel to them. They hold a special place in my heart though, won't lie. I
Yeah,
grew up with
like
those films. Those were
I
like and they like the Blade films were kind of like, started the superhero stuff for films to a lot of
yeah,
degree.
like it was in the 2000s, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Them
it
and
was.
the first Spider-Man were kind of like these
I
were the things
think
that started superhero films.
if I remember correctly, like Blade walked so that
Man
Spider-Man
could
and the
run.
first X-Men could run,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. I would agree.
Mhm. And I think my biggest surprise is because again, I don't have much of an attachment to Blade. Like, not to
That's fair.
knock out those movies, just I haven't really saw them beginning to end.
They are
But but to me,
fine.
like
They're not
I
perfect. They
did
have their problems, but they're still
I
fun.
I have the misfortune of saying that I saw the Ben Affleck Daredevil, so seeing Elektra was like, huh, that's cool. But I'm also like, really? This is the one we bring back?
I mean, to be fair, I
Okay,
love the little like snide joke they make at the Ben Affleck Daredevil too, though.
yeah.
It's all good.
You see that, right? That's not heaven. That's the sea train.
And then we get like the what's her name? X13 or whatever it is.
X-23, yeah, from
Yeah.
Logan. Same
And
actress, so
yeah,
as
which was
far as
good.
well. Mm-hmm.
But
And
it was
in
nice to give them like a send off in a way, right?
yeah, to give them like one more goodbye, especially, again, if they do move forward with their blade, if they do other stuff with it. So you know what? If you because say what you will about those movies, I'm sure they had their fans,
Yeah.
right? Like Blade
Hi,
more so,
fan
but
of
I'm
Blade
sure there
right here.
are
I'll admit.
yeah, but I'm sure there are also people who probably enjoy, Jennifer Garner's Elektra,
Yeah,
both her own movie and in Daredevil. So, it's nice that they got one, and especially, Channing Tatum finally getting to do something with Gambit.
finally, yeah.
So, mm. So all of those were cool, and then I did enjoy the villain, like the like a professor, like a Xavier's sister. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. She she's not necessarily deep, but she was cool enough. She had a presence, and I
Sandra
enjoyed it.
Nova is her name.
Hmm. Yeah, Senjanova. I did think she had a great presence, and I joined the scene where she's trying to get into Wolverine's mind, and he's actually managing to to play her off a bit. And actually, I think my favorite scene in the movie is the scene where Deadpool and Wolverine just fight each other in the car.
Yeah, that was really
because
good.
because for one, once Deadpool's thing is the mark with the mouth, right?
Hmm.
That's his title, and Wolverine is basically the only character in this franchise so far to shut him up.
It's true.
That means something.
Well, I also
And
liked it
then,
as well because like it kind of shows you like, hey, here's two basically immortal people and kind of how they
mhm,
fight, and they fight very much with like little regard to their own lives because you can't
yeah,
really kill them all that easily, right?
yeah, because they can die. So
And they
they can take as
yeah.
many shots as they want,
Yeah, and
but
they just
uh,
fight in this way that like it's just complete self abandon, right? And zero care, doesn't matter. It's all about like I how can I hurt you basically.
And then more than that, though, you have a fight scene that's completely just taking place in a car. That's
Yes.
not a location you can do a lot with, but they do a lot. And then if you told me that there's going to be a fight scene with you're the one that I want from Greece, like, and it matches so well in terms of like the editing and the punches and the
Hmm.
beats of the song, it how does this scene work exactly? It does. They found a way.
I loved like
And
Deadpool getting kicked out of the car and Wolverine just sticking his hand up saying, "Come on."
yeah.
And then him diving back in. They did
Hmm.
so well with that.
But also, I think this is the scene which has like the coexistence sticker, and I'm like,
Yep.
I didn't know I needed this, but
And then you also see the end of it, right? And it's just
yeah,
like Deadpool wrapped up in the seatbelt, completely
yeah.
tied.
Just a fantastic moment. Definitely fantastic. And I will say this is also like a dog pool. I love dog pool. Dog pool,
Hmm.
like, this was apparently the ugliest puppy in Britain, and or something. It was voted like something. I think it was in Britain, like the ugliest puppy in Britain. And there you go, made it big. And then they get back to the real world, and Nova is trying to take over the cannon machine, and they're trying to stop her. And all of those Deadpools are coming out, and then turns out that there's this one Deadpool with a very long hair that is the only one that's can't regenerate. And
Oh
Wolverine is
yeah.
like,
Poor Nice Pool.
yeah, and Wolverine is like, you just committed a fucking murder, you asshole.
Poor Nice Pool. But hey, it's pretty much it's how Nice Pool would have gone. It's how Nice Pool would have wanted to go out.
By the way, there were a lot of rumors about who's Lady Pool. There were even rumors that it's Taylor Swift, but turns out, according to the credits, from what I've heard,
Blake
that's Ryan
Lively,
Reynolds'
right?
wife.
Yeah, Blake
Yeah,
Lively.
yeah. So that's cool.
Listen, we should mention though, you got Welsh Pool, man. You got the Welsh people. You got some representation. Welsh Pool.
Mhm. And all of them have a pedo.
I did love that moment where Peter just kind of shows up and they're like, yeah, and just all
Mhm.
go off to have a celebration with Peter.
Yeah, that was great. And also just the entire one-shot fight where they storm through all the Deadpools, and you get to see the little Stan Lee, poster on the bus, and
Mm.
they have this badass moment where they're like, "Yeah, we did it," and then, all right, Deadpools, they all have regenerating health. Damn it.
It was a good like
Mm,
side-scrolling fight scene though, right? And just seeing all
yeah.
the like the different Deadpool designs too, like you have cowboy, you have like a samurai, and just a bunch of
Into
different
the
stuff.
Deadpool verse.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I can't believe I forgot to mention. I was actually surprised for the better when because this was the first time Hugh Jackman actually wore the yellow and blue suit for Wolverine,
Mm.
and but I didn't expect them to bring in the mask, and when they did, it was like an oh shit moment.
But it works though, right?
It works. It does. That's the thing that you're like, oh my. When I'm saying, oh my god, it's like they actually found a way to make it work and like not look ridiculous. Oh my god, this looks amazing.
They do still make fun of it, but it does work.
hmm and then I think but near the climax the movie started to drag out a bit to the point that even Deadpool says, "Don't worry, audience, we're at the home stretch. I promise you."
I mean, I
But
never felt like personally, I never felt like the movie was like, okay, let's start to wrap it up. I never had that feeling to it, right? Personally.
I think it could, like, if you maybe my opinion would change on a rewatch, but it did near the end. It started feeling like, okay, let's start to wrap it up. But I
That's
did
fair.
like the point where it's like, hey, how did you survive that? And it's like, well, alone I couldn't, but together we managed to pull it off. It's like it's so cheesy, but it's the kind of explanation you
Oh, are you talking
accept
about
when
when
it.
him and Wolverine destroyed the machine
Yeah.
together? It was so
Mhm.
stupid. Wolverine just shirt blows off.
Yeah. But again, I think that's part of the joke because if it
Yes,
was
it
any other
is.
movie besides
It was so
Deadpool,
dumb,
I
but
would.
it's like it's 100% the joke. I get it.
Mhm. And then it's like, oh, he's gonna be here until he's 90. I'm like, if considering you Jackman actually said after in press junket, you know what? I want to keep playing Wolverine for as much as I can. They probably weren't lying. He's gonna do this until he's 90.
I mean, we should talk about that, right? Like, what did you think about having Hugh Jackman back? Because as far as I'm understanding, like he was kind of done with it after Logan, right?
Because from what I've heard, he was done with it after Logan because Logan was the send off. It was supposed to be the end.
Yeah,
It was supposed to be, and I think, and it's actually kind of interesting because if you remember the scene in the post credits for Deadpool 2, there's the where he goes back to shoot the terrible Deadpool. He says, "Listen, you're gonna hang up the claws, and it's gonna make a lot of people sad. But if you get a call from your friend Wade, don't sleep on it. Answer him. People want you back. Just so you know." Um, and in a way, I heard that initially Ryan Reynolds made Hugh Jackman the offer, and Hugh Jackman was like, "Nah, I'm done with Wolverine. Doesn't want to do that." But then he just kind of went for a drive, and he realized, you know what? Maybe I do want to do it. And I guess when they did tell him, listen, you're not going to be the exact same Wolverine. You're going to be another one. You're going to be a different Wolverine who's not a hero. He kind of disappointed his own universe. This is what you're gonna be. So I think that's what
yeah, no, that's
Captain
fair.
him, and
Yeah,
that's very fair.
but personally, yeah, it was really great to see him back doing Wolverine again, right? Because it is hard to picture anyone else as Wolverine at this point. I
Yeah,
think
and
maybe you like they did do the reference, right? And you could maybe get away with Henry Cavill as Wolverine potentially, I think.
honestly, I'd pay good money to see that.
Yeah,
That sounds awesome.
but it was still a nice like hey, just
I will tell you what, there were rumors that Daniel Radcliffe was gonna play Wolverine. I would have
mm,
loved if they have referenced that in some way that is like
true
one of
would have been funny.
like if you have like a magical Wolverine or something that the blades are like wands or something to really hit it home, but you know what?
Daniel
You
Radcliffe
th-
would have been an interesting one.
I
I
mean,
mean, they
for
should.
the
Oh man, they should have. I don't know if they did, but they should have made him, tiny Wolverine.
no, that's Hugh Jackman. That's a
I know it
CG.
is, but they should have made him tiny Wolverine. That would have been, mwah, that would have been beautiful. That would have been a good
Yeah.
joke. They missed out on that one. You can have that one for free, Ryan Reynolds, in the future.
Mhm. Well,
Maybe they
but
wanted
you
to and
see,
they didn't get the chance. He wouldn't do it. Maybe.
yeah. But yeah, I think Hugh Jackman still did great, and
Yeah,
so far
agreed.
it's such an iconic performance. There's there's nothing else to really say. I think we covered everything in this little bit that we were talking about it. It's such a great movie, and I will say though, because we're talking about the stuff that we loved and everything, I have to stress because I've seen some people bring it up, and I do kind of agree. In terms of actual plot and writing, this may not be a good movie. Like some plot points are very rushed if they get any development at all.
Mhm.
But here's the thing: I don't think it needs to be well developed or something because the movie delivers exactly what it promises you. It gives you Deadpool, Wolverine, and it gives you a lot of fun, a
Well,
lot of
even
jokes, a lot of great action. I honestly don't care that the plot is a bit clunky.
well, even from what I have heard and from what like the research I was able to do before we started doing this, right? The director and some of the actors I think have come out and came out and said, right, like, hey, this isn't like Deadpool 3. This is Deadpool and Wolverine. This is basically like a two character, going on an adventure, little adventure romp sort of deal, right? Like this isn't Deadpool 3. This isn't going to further anything with that or that idea. Don't expect
Yeah.
it to, right? And I
Hmm.
think that's fair because they said, hey, this is like here's two names, they're going on an adventure together, have fun. And yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, you
And
get exactly that. And I'm
yeah.
okay
And
with that personally.
yeah, same.
Also,
I'm perfectly okay with
something
that.
else we should talk about too, right? At least for me personally, you may not have felt this way, but I did. And, we do have to, mention it. Like, Marvel fatigue is a real thing. It's always
Mhm.
been a thing for a little while here or there, but Marvel's not been doing great here lately. It's had a lot of bombs. Let's be honest. It's dropped the ball a lot here lately in some of its movies and shows as of late. I don't think many people would disagree with that. This
Yeah,
felt like old Marvel to me personally. Maybe it's because I've not been paying attention. I've not went out to see everything Marvel that's ever come out, right? And because if I did, I would be pulling my hair out because fuck. But
I
at
myself
least
gave up
for
on the TV shows. Yeah,
which is fair. At least for me personally, this felt like old Marvel. Like it had the good back and forth with everybody. It had like some great scenes in it. It felt like old Marvel when Marvel kind of first started, maybe a little bit after it first started, where you're like,
which, to be honest, there's also the thing that I was surprised with all the jokes that they were ever able to push on the MCU in general. Like
mm,
when Ryan Reynolds says that, listen, the multiverse thing was cool at first, but you know what? We need to wrap it up. It's not working anymore. They have some deep cuts.
they do. So I mean, they definitely. It seems like someone at Marvel somewhere at the very least kind of gets it. Like, hey, we've been fucking up. Let's try and fix that. So fair enough. I would like to see them return to form and start doing better again because you can still make good superhero movies. Superhero movies don't have to be dead now, right? Or shows for that matter. You can still do good stuff. Maybe don't release as much and commit to like a fewer projects, but commit to them more. But it's up to you, I suppose. But like, yeah, this one to me definitely felt more like old Marvel, and I had way more fun with this one than anything more recent that I've seen, other than Spider-Man. What was it? No Way Home, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've watched one or two of the other films in between that, but they were fine. But definitely, Marvel. A
I
lot of
think
Marvel has lost its charm, right? I
right.
feel personally.
And there is this thing of since Endgame, and to be honest, I think besides the Spider-Man and this one and maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 3,
Mm,
a lot of the Marvel releases were either not my thing or okay at best.
yeah, agreed. Very much agreed.
So yeah, so there's this thing where And also there is the meme of, the MCU is back, the MCU is dead, the MCU
She
is
was
back,
back.
the
The
MCU
MCU
is
is dead.
dead. So now we're in the back
Yeah,
vibes. Let's
MCU
see
is
what
back
happens.
again, baby. Let's go. We're
Yeah,
cooking. Oh,
yeah,
we're cooked. We're done.
yeah, let's see. So let's see what happens whenever the next MCU movie is
I
out,
hope
whatever
they
that
can
might be.
keep this momentum, right? Because this is good
Oh,
momentum. We hope they could keep it after No Way Home. They unfortunately weren't able to. Maybe they will be able to this time. I'm gonna be, probably foolish, but I'm gonna be hopeful that they can keep this momentum now. Maybe this is the, shot in the arm that they need is Deadpool. It can't hurt, right?
can't can't hurt, but yeah, let's see what happens. I suppose.
Yeah,
Let's see what it goes.
indeed.
But in terms of Deadpool and Wolverine,
Go
great
watch it.
movie.
Great movie.
Go watch it. Well, if you're already here in this spoiler section, that means you watched it. Otherwise, what the hell is wrong with
If
you?
you haven't though, yeah, go check it out. If you're under Marvel fatigue, don't worry. This one is fine. I don't think you're gonna have that problem with this one, personally.
Hmm? Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Anything else to add?
Nah, great movie. Go watch.
Yeah. So, what would you want to see in the future for Deadpool? Like,
Oh
because obviously
gosh,
there's going to be another one.
I think it would be fun, right, to see
Mhm.
him interacting with some of the more main Marvel cast.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would do, but I think it'd be fun. Like you've already hinted at the idea of him and Thor interacting, which I think would again be fun, be enjoyable.
Yeah, because Deadpool is so wild and kooky and over the top, and Thor is very operatic. It's very
Well,
out
it
there. It's
was
very
operatic. They kind of trying to make Thor more
uh,
Deadpoolish, or at least Tika Waititi has been.
it depends, and because Thor is also kind of reaching its end because of Chris Hemsworth's disease. So
Mm, yeah, I don't think Chris. He might come back, but I don't think he's going to come back anytime soon. Right? Is the way he talked
well,
about that.
the one thing, like, there's a good chance that he may, like, for one more hurrah, but I'm not sure to what capacity.
So yeah, they might be saving him then. But I think you could
I
have
did,
fun with
I
like.
did hear, I
Mhm,
did hear that both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman want to do a movie with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and like,
that would be
if
fun.
sign me the fuck on. That's what I have to say. But
It would be fun to hear Spider-Man and Deadpool quip at each other.
that's the thing. There's an entire comic series which is just that, them quipping at each other, and it's great because
Yes, indeed.
Peter can't stand Deadpool, but Deadpool just wants Spidey's attention.
As he does.
Yeah,
I
and
I would I would
but-
kind of also enjoy personally.
mhm.
This might be weird, but I would kind of also enjoy like a Deadpool Guardians of the Galaxy as well,
Yeah, and
because
have
they're
you
both
seen
just zany enough that they feel like they would fit well.
have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
I have not yet.
Well, then
I've
I'm
been
gonna
spoiled
spoil
on
it.
it here or there, so like don't worry about it.
The one thing I will say is that the one that he has a good chance of meeting is probably Star Lord,
Mm,
and that could be interesting.
agreed. I I think yeah yeah in general I think the Guardians of the Galaxy would be very fun. I think it'd be a pretty decent fit, right? Because they're
And
both
again,
zany but in different ways.
but then again, for that to happen, you need to send Deadpool to space, which you could. The question is, how is this going to happen?
I mean, he'll get on his Deadpool rocket and just launch himself. It
Fair
it's
enough.
it works. You don't
Mhm.
need to like go too deep into it, I'm sure.
Because yeah, they do come and imply that he has like access to the RDA. So maybe he'll get a rocket and he'll be able to launch himself to space or something.
Or something with the TVA as well at this point.
Yeah. So who knows? Let's say the future of Deadpool in the MCU is promising. I'm sure they're gonna find something
As
to do
long as
with
they
him.
don't overuse him but utilize him well, they'll be fine, I think, right?
Yes, definitely. Use him well, and I think
Hello.
considering Ryan Reynolds
There we go.
does have some sort of control
Yeah.
over the character. You know, he's still in there. He's still and they do want him there. So as long
Oh, did you die? HC, come back. HC, HC. Hello,
no, I'm here. What do you mean?
hello.
I'm here. Can't you hear me?
No, you
What can
died for.
can
Oh, you died on my end. Sorry.
He died on my end. Sorry.
Oh, no, no. I hear you now. You're good. Like you just went out.
okay?
Like
It's
the
okay
internet cut
now. Oh,
out.
well, well. Oh, so what I did say, in case it didn't come across, is as long as Ryan Reynolds is involved, I think they'll know what to do with him. He'll keep Deadpool safe.
Yep. No, fair. Agreed.
So, anything else to say before we wrap this up?
Nope.
Okay, so this was all for this episode of the Outcast. What do you think about Deadpool or the entire movies in general? And do you think Deadpool and Wolverine saved the MCU, or is it just another bump before we go into another low? You can tell us all about it in the comment section below. You can, and on our Twitter, which is Berkcast, with capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. Of course, there are the comments below if I haven't mentioned. And until the next episode, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all next time. Take care and something Deadpool would say.
Bye bye.